The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
What is going on, everyone? This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. He will be back with us Monday. We just had Steve do his show, which was awesome. We actually have a lot of people in the den this morning at this time, which is pretty good to see. If you're not in the den yet, again, really recommend you check that out. Give me a second to fix my headset here. And as you can hear, the allergies are in full swing. It is storming outside, so that'll be even better this weekend for me. Let's get into this. Currently, we're not at market open. We're about 23 minutes off. The ES Mini at about 5,300. Russell trading 2,118, 60 cents pre-market. NQs 18,542. The Dow futures 40,198. Really breaking above that 40,000 level. That is making some really strong moves. And we'll talk a little bit too about what the Fed was saying. It's been a while since I've been with you. What some of the insights were with Nike, with FedEx, and Lululemon. I find it interesting that consumers are still buying some of these brands, right? I mean, Lululemon is pretty expensive. I had been convinced by someone to go try to get their pants, right? They were like, yeah, you got to try this, like blah, blah, blah. And so I went to the mall and I was trying on the Lululemon pants. I mean, they're all right, yeah. And I looked at the price and it's $120. And everyone wears these. It's pretty nuts. The company is very strong. Nike, their shoes are not very cheap. People continue to buy them, and I think they need to branch out from the shoes. But we'll talk a little bit about that going forward. The gold contract. So we're down a little bit from yesterday. So we had the highest yesterday of 2,225. And then of this week, and we are trading at 2,176 currently. Of course, if you didn't hear it, Tim Ord was on yesterday with Tom O'Brien on the Tom O'Brien Show, and they discussed gold a little bit as well. And I say a little bit, I mean they're major in it. Copper, this is cool to see. We're trading at $4 on the full contract right now. Want to see this move up. We had a price target around 420, and so we're slowly eking towards that. I think for the high of this week, something around 416. Crude, so up at 81.33. Okay, so OPEC said they were going to extend supply cuts. This can send it pretty high. Obviously, we peaked at 95.03 and then have just been coming down. And for this whole year, we've been at this lower kind of sub-80 level, which has been fantastic for all of us at the pump. However, there is a chance that this increases with production cuts, really. However, there's some news that there might be a ceasefire being reached in the Gaza Strip between Hamas and Israel. And this would be pretty good for the price of oil as well. Let's take a look at Tesla, down even further. This stock has been getting battered. This is from July of last year at just under $300, and we were trading at $167.25. Pretty significant. Steel Dynamics just keeps going. I mean, this just keeps going. I mean, what do we want to say about it? Basil talks a little bit about Steel Dynamics. I love the stock. I don't even know what the trade strategy for this is currently. Obviously, you had a pretty strict bounds that this was trading in. And when you see that, when you see that in a stock, this is really good, right? Because you can kind of play those bounds. This has just kind of skyrocketed past those, so we're going to need to wait to see kind of a new way to approach Steel Dynamics, but 143 is not bad at all. Dollar rebounding. We're back at that 104.29 area. That is significant, and it obviously does bring some selling pressure in the market quite a bit. However, it seems like we're making all-time highs, at least in the Dow and ES Mini, of course, all the big guys, anyways. NQ's down a little bit. We can kind of talk some more about it. I think the major driver of this is going to kind of be Apple. So let's take a look here. I'm going to fix this. Great, fixed it. Let me see here. So obviously, big downfall. This is March 21st. They are getting hit with an antitrust lawsuit from the U.S., which is pretty wild. Essentially saying that they, so here, let's look at this first, right? This one will be through Apple and Google as well. This is under an EU digital law probe. Let me pull over the thing here. So basically, the European Commission is gearing up to announce probes into the firms under the bloc's Digital Market Acts in the coming days. According to people familiar with the matter, Apple and Google's new fees, terms, and conditions for App Store developers will come under the EU's focus, said the people who spoke on condition of anonymity. A proposal from Meta Platforms Incorporated to charge users a monthly subscription fee for accessing Facebook and Instagram without ads could also garner future EU scrutiny under the bloc's new powers. The heightened EU scrutiny against Apple comes as the U.S. Justice Department, this is a big one, we'll talk a little bit about it too, but the U.S. Justice Department and 16 attorneys general sued the firm on Thursday, accusing the iPhone maker of violating antitrust laws by blocking rivals from accessing hardware and software features on its popular device. This is worth looking a little more into to kind of really understand what that's saying. Shares in Apple fell as much as 3.8% in Thursday trading, while Alphabet fell as much as 1.2%. So this allows, obviously, the block. This is basically, the rest of this is saying that the EU is extraordinarily powerful in kind of leveling judgments against different companies. Certainly ones that kind of just, you know, I mean, they did it like if you're getting data. This was actually huge. And people can kind of dog Europe for some of the stuff they do. And I understand, but one of the major things that they do is if you're a company and you're taking data from EU citizens, you have to store it in Europe. It's no doubt about it. Like, you can't, Apple can't store their stuff in, you know, wherever, California, can't store it anywhere in America. It has to be in a storage facility in Europe, and obviously that comes with its own laws and regulations as well, which I think some people see as a barrier to business and maybe an unnecessary one, but I think it's actually really good. And I think the EU does, you know, an okay job every now and then of protecting its customers. This is really what we want to look at, and really what's, you know, we're kind of seeing this massive kind of downtick in Apple. So the DOJ is suing Apple over iPhone monopoly and landmark antitrust case. The government has not ruled out breaking up one of the largest companies in the world. This would be kind of crazy to think about, with the Justice Department officials saying on a briefing call that structural relief was on the table if the U.S. were to win. The lawsuit claims Apple's anti-competitive practices extend beyond the iPhone and Apple Watch business, citing Apple's advertising, browser, FaceTime, and news offerings. This is a quote: "Each step in Apple's course of conduct built and reinforced the moat around its smartphone monopoly." The Apple shares fell more than 4% during trading yesterday. A breakup of Apple, if successful, would be one of only a handful of breakups under the Sherman Act. And I mean, what does that look like, right? I mean, this isn't something that has, like, you know, massive vertical control, right? So I mean, what does a breakup of Apple look like? It's kind of interesting to think about. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back with you.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the morning market kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
What is going on, everyone? Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. Let us take a look at what's going on right now. Nike down 6.17%. Let's take a look at their earnings. So the China sales continue to slow during its holiday. Basically, they did okay. Listen, they did okay, but the outlook is not great for them, and they need to kind of refocus of what they are currently focusing on. Let's take a look. Nike's China sales continue to slow during its holiday quarter, but the retailer beat estimates on the top and bottom line, helped by better than expected growth in North America and price changes. Here's how the company performed in its fiscal 2024 third year. Let's look at this stuff here. The earnings per share is 77 cents versus 74 cents. And the revenue is $12.4 billion versus basically $12.3 billion. The company's reported net income for the 3-month period ended February 29th was $1.17 billion, compared with, of course, that $1.24 billion. Sales rose that much last year, which is huge, up slightly from $12.39 billion. Here's the big thing, right? I foresee a problem. You know, that Nike has this vision or this kind of outlook on the global scale of being like the hip, like kind of American thing, right? Other countries, and let's say like mainly Europe, right, who's interested in any kind of wear like this, you know, they have Adidas, which is major over there. Obviously, we have some smaller competitors as well. China kind of gets in that weird zone, right, where they're a developing economy, but you have this like generation of people kind of around my age who are, their material standards are so vastly different than that of their parents. And I think the connection to the internet plays a massive role in this as well, of what the consumer desires of, you know, a certain population are. And so you get something like Nike and people view it as, you know, this cool American product, so on and so forth. and you get massive purchases outside of, let's say, like North America. What happens when those countries, and I'm talking mainly about China, start trying to develop its own kind of national approach to things? And I don't mean it from like a government perspective or anything like that, but I mean it from like a cultural one, right? So in the past where you see this as like, these people are like consumers of a global international brand, right? i.e. like what America is kind of trying to give or put out there. And they start saying, hey, I think we should do our own thing, right? You know, this Chinese concept, you're seeing with cars, you're seeing it with phones, you're gonna see it with a bunch of different fashion as well, where the American taste is, in my opinion, probably not going to be the dominant one as we've seen it in, say, something like Europe, and certainly what we've seen in China now as well. It's a really interesting balance here. You know, I think a lot of these companies in North America that sell this kind of consumer goods can get really messed up if China starts trying to go away and buy more Chinese as their quality gets better and as people kind of develop a much more, you know, specific identity that doesn't have to do with internationalism and everything. And I think we could end up seeing something like that. Now, of course, China's also having economic issues that are totally be contributing to driving this. But I try to like stay pretty consistent with understanding, and obviously like all I can have access to is what's online and what I see, but the Chinese kind of pop culture, because it's interesting. I mean, they really are like the other Rome, right? I mean, it's the second most dominant economy on Earth, and I feel like we all don't like know that much about it. The common person, the common trader, and everything. And I think this can give kind of like insight into how some of our consumer goods will do, how some of our consumer companies will do. Anyways, let's take a little bit more look at this. In Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, revenue fell 3% to $3.14 billion, worse than the $3.17 billion that analysts had expected, according to Street Account. In China, sales grew 5% to $2.08 billion, just below the $2.09 billion analysts had expected. Sales in Asia Pacific and Latin America rose 3% to $1.65 billion, below the $1.69 billion analysts had expected. Nike shares rose about 5% after the report came out, but later dropped as much as 7% after it released its forward guidance. Excluding restructuring charges, the company reiterated its sales outlook for fiscal 2024 and said it expects revenue to grow by 1%, in line with expectations of up 1.1%, according to LSEG. For the current quarter, it expects revenue to be up slightly compared to estimates of 2%. Nike anticipates gross margins will grow 1.6 to 1.8%, helped by, quote, strategic price increases, lower ocean freight rates, lower product input costs, and improved supply chain efficiency. Okay. The improvements are offset by higher markdowns and reduced benefits from Nike's channel mix, along with foreign exchange headwinds. Those shifts in mix are related to changes in how often consumers are shopping online versus stores or with the Nike's wholesale partners. What's interesting about Nike, too, is, you know, you've really gone, and this is, again, a cultural thing and really a generational thing, but you've gone from Nike kind of just being like a sportswear thing, and it still is like Athletica, right? But even that name itself, like Athletica, can give you kind of like an insight of what the society is doing. And you know, it's no longer like I'm just wearing Nike to go work out or play sports or something like that. I mean, plenty of people wear Nike just out to fancy dinners. I mean, the shoes are nice. The clothes, obviously not wearing that to fancy dinner, but you can wear them out and nobody's like, that person's being lazy. You know, it's not culturally unacceptable to go out and do all your errands wearing Nike, and the stuff looks good. And it's the same thing with Lululemon. These higher end like Athletica wears are really, you have taken this kind of generational segment, and I'll say like Gen Z and millennials, really by storm, and it's become pretty common, and it'll be interesting to see if that can kind of persist through the years here. For the fiscal 2025, Nike expects revenue and earnings to grow versus the prior year, but it didn't say by how much. Nike said is prudently planning for revenue in the first half of fiscal 2025 to be down low single digits, reflecting a, quote, subdued macro outlook around the world. That's awesome. As consumers pull back on spending on discretionary items like clothes and shoes, Nike has spent the past few months focused on what it can control, which is cutting costs and becoming more efficient so it can drive profits and protect its margins. Of course, it is doing a massive restructuring, board restructuring, and has shed about 2% of its workforce. Anyways, we'll have to see how long Nike can get out here. But of course, you know, this is some pretty big volume on the gap down. And it's been kind of lackluster. You can just kind of see a more sideways to downward movement since this gap down in about December. All right, so let's see here. So we're talking about oil a little bit on it. Trading at 81.30. Obviously been squeezed at the price at the pumps a little bit. Okay, I'm hearing the music right now, and I'm going to kind of harp on this for a little bit. So stay right there. We'll be right back, everyone. And we'll talk a little bit about oil. Woo!
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstad releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
What is going on, everyone? Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Not that it's not on NYSE here, but, you know, Puma and Adidas also kind of slipped a little bit post-Nike. Anyways, let's take a look. Obviously, if such a massive giant like Nike is going to have issues because of macroeconomic outlook, probably going to see that in less large Athletica brands as well. Okay, So oil prices are slipping on the possibility of nearing Gaza's ceasefire that could ease geopolitical concerns in the Middle East, while a stronger dollar and a faltering U.S. gasoline demand also weighed on prices. These contracts, is the Brent, excuse me. Yeah, Brent and just U.S. crude, I guess. They're kind of falling flat a little bit. A ceasefire would help calm fears that the situation in Gaza might spread more broadly across the region. Additionally, it may encourage the Houthis to stand down. Okay, I think that's partly to do with it, but I really think just the amount of output from OPEC is going to play a major role in this. We're the highest that we had on the year, really. Let's take a look. I believe it's at this 95 level. And of course, it won't let me scroll. Yeah. And so, we're closer than we have been in recent times to an high on there, but it's still staying pretty, it had been staying pretty strong right under 80. We popped up under it and then came right back down. I don't know if this is like a slow burn up to a 90 level in oil, but it's been staying pretty constant with it. Obviously, OPEC decrease is going to play a role, right? I mean, they're second largest producer of oil after us. I think that if we can, I think it'll help us manipulate prices in some ways, and I don't know what point that oil producers in the U.S. are going to want oil to be sold at. I should probably look up, what their profitability level is for that, but I would assume it's much lower than $81 a barrel. And so it'll be interesting to see once we start really drilling the Permian Basin in a major way, and kind of getting that going, how much lower we can keep oil. Of course, I do think it's in the best interest of a lot of, oil companies and the government to not decrease that too much. Anyways, let's take a look because we are at market open right now. It is 9:32. The ES Mini is just sideways right now, trading at 5,300. The Russell futures trading at 2,119. The NQs 18,526. And the Dow futures trading, again, we're up above that 40,000 level. And I think we will probably stay there. This will be interesting to see what happens. Gold contract at 2,176. Of course, that dollar is a little bit weighing down on this. Silver at 24.96. And then we have copper popping up at 401. Of course, that is down 1% from open, but it is literally 3 minutes in. Let's take a look a little bit more. Tesla still at 167.91. What is going on with Tesla? They just see output, kind of not output. They see demand decreasing. I think one of the major issues they have, and Elon Musk had said it, is that if we don't do something about Chinese vehicles, we're going to be hit really, really hard. And you have companies, the major one here is Xiaomi, and they're set to launch their electric car. They what day is it? It's the 22nd. So in 6 days from now, Xiaomi is launching its electric car. And this is their smartphone company, okay? Xiaomi. The company claimed on social media posts the product would be delivered as soon as it is launched. This is massive. The company claimed its social media post that its SU7 electric car would be delivered as soon as it is launched. The post of the company was opening the wait list for 59 stores. Xiaomi revealed the vehicle's exterior. Okay, it looks nice and tech forward. But here's the point. Like, these companies can produce things at such a cheaper cost. And maybe the quality won't be as good, but the future of electric vehicles is not hyper luxury ones that cost. And we've seen Elon Musk try to get prices down of their cars so that average people can access them, right? I mean, the point of Tesla was not to create like a hyper luxury brand or anything like that. It was to get electric vehicles for the common consumer. And I'll be interested to see what these like Xiaomi units ship for. But if it is cheaper comparatively than Tesla, I think other Chinese companies are going to follow suit, move in to Europe. I mean, even in 2019, they were trying to move electric vehicles at least into the Balkans. And I'm sure that would extend out to EU countries as well. Of course, some countries in the Balkans are, but whatever. So I think this can kind of create a major existential threat to Tesla in a way, and kind of it's almost interesting, right? Because Tesla is so hyper focused. It's like their risk is all in a single basket. And now, of course, yes, They have the data for self-driving, which is really going to be their major revenue driver, I think, going forward, not just car sales. But now it's interesting, right, where you had all of these traditional, combustion vehicle companies trying to pivot over and dump a bunch of money into electric. It's not paying off for them just currently because of market conditions. And these guys can actually now fall back on traditional combustion, whereas Tesla cannot. And Tesla's trying to dump a bunch of money into discovering how to get better sources of lithium, which Elon Musk has been saying is constantly the way to go, is being a lithium extractor. And, all it takes is China just to follow suit a little bit, and they don't have to spend as much in order to figure out what exactly is going on with it. Anyways, that'll be kind of interesting to see play out here. If I get this article up. So it's trimming the outputs of cars in China amid slower EV sales growth. So Tesla has reduced its car production at its plant in China. And again, this is it's interesting, right? When China has hard times, I mean, how hard it hits U.S. companies. It's because we sell all of our stuff over there, right? And I think this creates actually a risk exposure of what I was saying earlier, where you get a different taste of, the new Chinese generation. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see, but I think it's something important to keep in mind. The company earlier in March told employees at its Shanghai factory to lower output of both the Model Y sport utility vehicle and the Model 3 sedan. The two types it makes in China by working 5 days a week instead of the usual 6.5 days. Wow. And that was citing people familiar with the matter. They, of course, were not responding to a lot of questions. But that's a major problem, right? If China rebounds, maybe they do all right. What if it's a prolonged period of time where China is in kind of a rough straits, right? Maybe they're not purchasing as much and their taste flips. Maybe the Chinese companies are able to offer good-looking electric vehicles at a cheaper price, right? And then you can kind of get China roaring back, economically speaking, and Tesla and American brands have kind of lost out there. It'll be interesting to see. Let us talk about Bitcoin a little bit. Let me see here. Obviously, insane price action from Bitcoin. So this is so funny. We were trading, I think, at the highest at 71,000. And there's a guy I know, and he's done very well for himself with Bitcoin. So obviously the halving happened and so on and so forth, and you get $71,000 Bitcoin. Okay. Well, I asked him, I was like, hey man, what's going on with this, I was like, this is interesting, wait for a pullback or what? And he's like, there will never be another pullback. Yeah, well, we're trading at 63,000 right now, and JP Morgan says it's still overbought despite the recent correction. Jeez. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back and talk a little bit about that going forward.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the Opening Call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of Basil's educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direction. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direction.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direction.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Okay, welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Sheep filling in for Tommy O'Brien. Taking a look at Boeing right now. We can hop back a little bit to Bitcoin in a second. Looking at Boeing, trading at 192.30, of course, down from 267.54 up to 51. This has been a major, I mean, this is a scandal, right? Almost how bad these 737 Maxes are. Apparently, the FBI has been reaching out to people who were on Alaska Airlines flight where the door flew off mid-flight and said you might actually be a victim of crime. And that this kind of insinuates that they're investigating Boeing for defrauding the FAA during original certification of the 737 MAX. The Boeing agreed to pay $2.5 billion for that settlement. But if they discover that there was really, you know, an intent to mislead, and what was misled on resulted in what happened on Alaska Airlines, I mean, that's a major problem. Okay, so I have a buddy of mine, right? And he, this is like one of those like old man stories, but I have a buddy of mine and he basically works at a company, okay, and they repair airplanes, right? And so he does work on the passenger jets, so Airbus and Boeing. And he tells me that they've been getting in a lot of 737s to kind of test. So apparently like samples are being set out from Boeing, some of these different companies, and just to kind of test what's going on. And he says that they've had at least one, and this has been over like a longer period of time, but they have one where they haven't suggested it, but he was saying, you know, he's not in charge of suggesting what changes must, you know, be taken. But he's like that, you basically have a whole thing where you have to strip down the jet and then reassemble it, right? And that's if they fail, you know, so many tests within like a certain criteria. And he's like, the 737s have major glaring problems that need to be fixed all the time, which is actually pretty terrifying, you know? And there's been a lot of high-profile crashes and a lot of high-profile things going on with that. Of course, Boeing's getting a little bid right now. Of course, they're getting attention because some dude who was talking about them is no longer with us, which is crazy. It's really, I think, a major problem for Boeing. You know, so Congress, let's look at this. Congress is eyeing more government oversight of Boeing after a series of high-profile accidents. Boeing has been under intense scrutiny after a panel blew off its company's 737 MAX 9 jetliners mid-flight. The Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into Boeing after the company admitted that it couldn't find records that the National Transformation Safety Board sought for work done on the panel at its factory. What's weird, too, and I wonder if this is going to have to change, and I've brought up this concept, too, with my friends who, you know, work in welding for high-pressure systems. And it seems like there might be, you know, if you've experienced this, you know, let us know in the den or something like that. Or if you experience not this, let us know in the den too, because it's interesting. But that there's a lot of like implicit trust in the supply chain, right? In these kind of manufacturing areas. So like workers are like signing off on the job that they've done. And of course, like in a high, you know, trust society, I guess that's a pretty good thing. But maybe if you're seeing a bunch of things go wrong, things have to change, which is sad, right? But this is kind of the idea that I get from my friends who work in, kind of niche manufacturing, is that workers sign off on the jobs that they do. And if we're seeing a major L taken from that in an environment with that, things are going to change for this pretty heavily. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and if Boeing did intentionally defraud people on that, if that led directly, to that Alaskan airline problem, we're in a major way. We take a look, we're in some major deep water, basically. And again, I've said that too, like, when you have a company that creates airplanes that need to have certain safety systems and need to have certain standards, and you get a guy talking about, hey, listen, we're going to actually increase, the revenue here, in what way are you going to do that? I mean, are you selling more units? It's like, no. So it's like you're cutting costs somewhere else along the line. And maybe that's not, as a society, what we should be rewarding with, companies like Boeing who make airplanes, right? So Airbus widens aircraft delivery lead over Boeing as MAX crisis deepens. The Boeing handed over 27 planes in February, while Airbus handed over 49. Boeing 737 MAX quality control crisis has deepened, obviously, since Alaskan Airlines. So far this year, Boeing has handed over 54 planes, while Airbus has widened its lead over the main rival, delivering 79 planes in the first 2 months of 2024. Delayed Boeing planes have been difficult for airline leaders. Southwest Airlines flies only Boeing 737s. On Tuesday, said that it would trim capacity plans this year because of fewer Boeing MAX deliveries, and that it will have to reevaluate its 2024 financial estimates. United Airlines earlier this year said it was taking the 737 MAX 10, which hasn't yet been certified, out of its fleet plans. That is a major problem for Boeing. Boeing's February deliveries included 17 MAX jetliners and 7 wide-body 7879 Dreamliners. Very nice. Deliveries are important to manufacturers because customers pay the bulk of the aircraft price when they receive the plane. Boeing logged 15 gross orders for new planes in February, while Airbus sold just 2. Customers aren't abandoning Boeing because of its recent struggles, which is weird. Last week, American Airlines announced an order for 260 narrow-bodied airplanes split between Boeing. I don't think they're out of the woods yet. If there's really evidence that they were actively misleading the government and regulatory bodies, again, I think major problem. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, I won't look at all the stocks because I think things like Raytheon and Lockheed are pretty cost prohibitive. However, U.S. is preparing a new weapons plan for Ukraine. I do think this is still, I think the defense sector is always going to be massive, and this is kind of just proving that too. And this is one where you look at like Israel, where they get legit, they're not just getting money. Israel gets like actual goods and stuff like that, where Ukraine gets these money loans and then, obviously able to get lower quality military goods from us, from those loans. I still think this poises the defense contractors to make a ton of money. This is one where, unlike Israel and Palestine, you're not seeing this slowdown at all, right? In fact, you're kind of seeing like a stalemate. Obviously, it's not being talked about as much in the media, and this is, because there's not a lot of progress being made on that region, which is really strange. Let's go back to Bitcoin real quick. So cryptocurrency markets suffered a sharp correction in the past week, with the price of Bitcoin falling by over 15% before rebounding after the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. The sell-off may not be over, as positioning still looks overbought. And let's talk about a little bit on the FOMC. It is interesting, again, how Bitcoin is just following kind of other, commodities almost, right? Like really anything, like any purchasable good. When you have lower rates or the talk of lower rates, this prices go up, right? And I think, again, it's just people with money are going to oversaturate the market, and they want to get into Bitcoin. I don't think institutional investors are seeing Bitcoin as necessarily better than anything else, right? Just different. Obviously, that's different with, kind of smaller time investors and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I don't think they were saying that less chair members are seeing the number of rate cuts that were expected. This pushes it out. Of course, the market is still seeing rate cuts come in June, which is massive. And this is probably why we're seeing all-time highs and everything. Basically, there remains considerable optimism in the market over the prospect for prices rising significantly by the end of the year. That's regarding Bitcoin. The significant component of that optimism rising from the view that Bitcoin demand via spot exchange-traded funds would continue at the same pace, even as the supply of Bitcoin diminishes after the halving. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back for a short segment.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly Gold Report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the Opening Call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of Basil's educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. Some interesting news for Novo Nordisk. We were talking, and there was a lot of actually subtle talk about things like Wegovy, Ozempic, all this kind of stuff, right? And these are the weight loss drugs. These are massive. And one of the big things that some people were hoping for is that these weight loss drugs would actually be covered by Medicare, right? And then that's really where you see things like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly take off. So Wegovy is actually going to be now covered by U.S. Medicare. This is for heart disease patients. Heart patients insured under the U.S. Medicare program would be covered for Novo Nordisk's weight loss drug Wegovy, as long as it is prescribed to reduce their risk of heart attacks and strokes, so not just for weight loss. Medicare prescription plans administered by private insurers, known as Part D, currently cannot cover obesity drugs. Under the new guidance, however, such drugs would be paid for if they receive the U.S. approval for a secondary use that Medicare does cover, and that is going to be kind of heart risk for them. Based on positive results from a large clinical trial, the FDA approved Wegovy earlier this month for lowering the risk of stroke and heart attack in overweight or obese adults who do not have diabetes. Analysts have forecasted the market for weight loss drugs could reach at least $100 billion a year by the end of the decade, with the production of Wegovy, Eli Lilly's Zepbound, and Mounjaro unable to keep up with the astonishing demand. That is massive. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Let's take a look at Chipotle quickly before the end of the show. They are doing a stock split, and a major stock split. So, wow. Is that real? That's insane. Okay, so for $2,901, yeah, that makes sense now why they're doing a 50-for-1 stock split, which would be one of the biggest stock splits in the history of the stock exchange. The split is subject to shareholder approval at the company's annual meeting on June 6th. If it's approved, the stock will begin trading on a post-split basis on June 26th. The CFO said the stock split will make our stock more accessible to employees as well as the broader range of investors, and noted that the stock is an all-time high. That's crazy. I didn't realize it was like that. Huh. Good stuff, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. We have Basil Chapman on next. We have a replay for Steve that he did at 8 today. I believe we have Larry on, and then Tom O'Brien at 3 p.m. Take care now.